What's going on? This is Aaron Price, the CEO of Tech United New Jersey, and we are 1 week away from the Propelify Innovation Festival happening outdoors in Hoboken, vaxxed only. It's going to be awesome. And I am here today with Kevin Pianco. He's a partner at BDO. I've known Kevin for a long time prior to this whole NJTC Tech United business. I think we met at a meetup back in the day, but it's been great to get to know you over the last probably decade at this point. And now it's great to have you on our board at Tech United. How's it going?
It's going well, Aaron. Pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to speak with you. And we're also looking forward to Propelify. It's always been an outstanding event every time I've attended.
And we appreciate BDO support. I know you guys are a sponsor this year, not just of Propelify, but a variety of things that we do at Tech United, which is very much appreciated. But today I thought it'd be fun to do our Tech Pictionary. Put you on the spot. For those watching, you can jump into the comments. The tool we use usually pulls in the comments. We'll do our best. If you have questions for me or Kevin, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, you're everywhere, Kevin. If you have questions, drop them in. I'll try to weave them in. But sure. Let's bring on the Pictionary cam, okay? This is a very, very high-end, super expensive setup called my hand holding this camera. Here we go. So I'm going to draw something, Kevin, and you're going to guess what it is. No pressure, 1,000 points each. Here we go, and let's get started. One would think I could draw this, but I'm not sure. It kind of goes over here. Any idea what this may be? Forget this part over here. Oh, can you see it? There, you can see it.
It looks like an outline of the state of New Jersey.
Yes, you got it. First guess. And impressive guessing skills.
Cape May could come down a little bit further, but I get it.
It goes down a little bit more? Do you live somewhere around here?
Yes.
You vacation down in this area?
I've spent some time in Cape May, beautiful town, and you don't feel like it's part of New Jersey when you're down there. You get that Philadelphia influence.
What are you saying, Kevin? What are you saying about it doesn't feel like it's part of New Jersey?
Well, you get a different influence because you have a lot of people from Philadelphia vacation down that part.
We don't like those people, do we?
Yeah, I grew up in Monmouth County, so I'm familiar with the Jersey Shore, and there's that demarcation line around LBI between the New York influence and the Philadelphia influence. Yeah. All good, both sides, all around. We love our neighbors.
Is it good? Is it good, Kevin? I'm not feeling like it's that good.
With respect to what?
Do we love all our neighbors? Would you say New Jersey is a welcoming place?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I think
I'm just trying to get you in trouble. I would agree with you.
Well, it's a very expensive place. I think we're still continuing to try and find ways to work around that. But you look at everything we have. We have great academic institutions. We have the Jersey Shore. We have the mountain region. It's just a phenomenal place to live. Born and bred, love the state.
So let's tell people who may not be aware what's the 60 seconds on BDO.
BDO is a dynamic professional services firm ranging from audit, tax, consulting services. Our consulting arm has grown dramatically under Jay Duke. You name it, we can provide those types of services, and it's been quite interesting to see that development over the last 5 or 6 years that I've been at the firm. And clients demand more than traditional audit and tax services these days. They want thought-provoking, solution-providing services.
And so, what kind of what are the non-standard things that have come up that have been interesting? Because consulting, as you point out, right, it's a broad range of services. So what are some things you've worked on in the last year that have been, a little more interesting or maybe non-standard?
Well, we've seen some nice supply chain activity. We've seen digital transformation has been a big part of the firm, working with clients. Data analytics, clearly another area, and exploiting opportunities in that area. It's been quite eye-opening to see the data and the content that clients have and the lack of depth of their understanding of the data that they have, and trying to bring that to the forefront to be able to put it to good use.
Yeah, I mean, I might be putting you on the spot here a little bit, but as far as supply chain goes, do you see the markets easing up? Are things getting a little bit better? I mean, I still see a lot of headlines around significant supply chain issues. Do you have any inside information about where we're going, where we're headed?
I think where we're at right now, I don't see any improvement to that. As a matter of fact, I was just speaking with a client this morning that provides services to the automotive space from a technology perspective. And first time I heard somebody say that going into a dealership, if you don't have a car to trade in, you're most likely not going to be able to buy a new car. I never heard
that craziness. Yeah.
So, quite interesting. What you're seeing coming out of China. I mean, there's some issues with the property market over there. Who knows what the impact's going to be? It's certainly not going to be contained. In my opinion, it's certainly not going to be contained to where they say it's not going to have an issue across the globe.
Yeah. What are you seeing in the financial markets? Because there's been so much. Before I get into that question, actually, has anything surprised you in the last 18 months or so that we thought, there was a lot of concern that the business community, the business in general would constrict, but in many cases we've seen businesses thrive. Any surprises that you've noticed during the pandemic in how the business community's responded?
The biggest surprise I've seen, and this is probably the most surprising in the 30 years of practice, is the lack of talent in the marketplace of people willing to step up and fill positions that clients are looking to fill to operate their businesses. We see it in our own shop here. It's across our industry as well. But finding talent to fill roles of organizations is almost impossible.
Why do you think that is?
I'd rather not talk about the political aspects that could be sitting there. I mean, it's clearly there's plenty of positions and there's plenty of people available to work. I think it's the incentives of not working probably outweigh the incentives to work.
So you can move on if you don't want to answer this question, but I would think that the salaries in a BDO would far exceed the incentives that the government's been providing.
Oh, so, yes. We're very competitive with our salaries.
Right. So if we're talking about, professional services, I would think even the starting salaries are 2 and 3x what the federal subsidies are right now, or the incentives are right now. So you think that in your industry is a holdback?
Well, part of our issue in our industry, we just have less people graduating with CPA degrees, accounting degrees, and wanting to go into public accounting.
Yeah.
Private industry has been drawing down a lot of our talent, I'm sure, across the board with respect to our competitors as well. They're providing good salaries, good benefits, and opportunities where people may not want to, how should we say, work the hours that may be required to service our clients. When you get into markets that we've been in, particularly public capital raises, IPOs, SPAC activity, demands a lot of time from our teams.
But at the same time, it could be lucrative, could be a lot of fun, could be, you get insight into a lot of interesting industries. So on the flip side, what would you say for people considering this as a career? Why is, not to be a commercial for BDO, but in general, why do you think this is a compelling industry that people might want to reconsider?
Just your exposure to different types of businesses, the operations of those businesses is just overwhelming. You look at having the viewpoint to see how companies operate, what makes a company succeed versus what makes a company fail. Seeing a company grow from inception stage, as we do in our portfolio practice, we deal with the early stage all the way through liquidating events. Watching a company go from point A to point B and see that exit, it's just an exciting thing to see and be part of.
So speaking of some of those,
we do. I'm sorry.
Some of those exits, SPACs have been blowing up. As you know, we're talking about this a bit at Propelify. In fact, your buddy Dave Zorn's going to be talking to Che Huang, who's the CEO and founder of Box, about their SPAC deal. Why, this is not a new product. Why all of a sudden so much attention to the SPAC industry?
The leader of our practice is Demetrius Fergaskatos in New York. He leads our SPAC practice. I think he's going to be speaking a little bit about that at Propelify. But I would say the primary drivers, you have better sponsors. The private equities and the institutions that are backing these deals are much higher quality than you would have seen 20 years ago. And I think that's clearly the number one issue that's driving, the number of transactions.
What do you think about the maturity? When I first met you, there was a lot of early stage activity going on in New York and some in New Jersey. Both markets have evolved, and you're a little more connected to the private equity, the upstream side of capital. So what are you seeing as these markets are maturing, and what advice would you give to the early stage entrepreneurs and thinking about how, they may become interesting, targets for some of the later stage, especially the PE guys?
We've seen some phenomenal exits, right? And I think clearly there's plenty of capital in the markets right now that are driving prices maybe to excessive extremes. But it's probably the number one success factor is a good, solid management team that works together, can identify what the market needs, and can use the term probably overused, pivot quickly when they see something may not be working out exactly the way they would want it to work out, and be able to change direction and not spend too much time or deploy too much capital in an area that may not be an area of success.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people in the networking here that you could always, these management teams could talk to folks that have gone through that exit strategy and tell them, here's what we did and here's how we were successful and how we came up to a very successful outcome.
Yeah. Let's talk for a minute about, sorry, all of a sudden a giant ladder started showing up outside my window, which doesn't belong, so it's a little distracting. Let's talk a minute about the New Jersey market, because both of us, I think, have a global view. I know Tech United's interested in being best in class. Our BDO is. We happen to want to make sure that New Jersey thrives in the process, and I know that's personally of significant importance to you. What do you see as the opportunity in the New Jersey market right now?
I think that I think our legislators are making it compelling to want to work and stay and operate here in New Jersey. Still very expensive, but I think we're trying to get to that point. What you've done with Tech United to help build that infrastructure has been a very good sign of relief, because I think we were having a situation here where we had a lull going on. And I think that you're bringing back a lot of the energy. You're bringing in the large scale corps that can help the younger companies in their progression along their growth cycle. We have tremendous talent, which may be contradictory to what we talked about earlier, but New Jersey does retain a lot of smart people. Just look at our pharma industry, our healthcare and tech. I'd put us up against any state in the country.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I think we have fantastic talent. We struggle to get them to stay here because they're in high demand, and they could even be in New Jersey and be working for an organization anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country. But I'm with you on that, and I appreciate it's been a major team effort, but I do feel like there's really strong momentum with Tech United, with the board support, with what we're seeing at Propelify next week. It does feel like there's a moment now, and I think accelerated by the pandemic, for business to thrive, where people see, it's good to be near New York City, it's good to be near Philly, but I could set up shop in a more convenient way that works for my lifestyle in a place like New Jersey that has a lot to offer. So I'm totally with you on that. I mean,
just think about the first week or two of the pandemic. The thoughts people were having, and just the resiliency of this particular area of the country to step up. I would never have thought we'd have the results we have today with respect to the markets, how they've reacted, and how businesses have been able to thrive. So, that's something about the people in this part of the country, particularly in the state.
Yeah, totally agree. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about setting up shop in New York or New Jersey, and how they should think about, where the right place might be for them?
Well, clearly there's plenty of opportunity. I think New Jersey makes the incentives I think the state has to help you plant your roots here are compelling. I think the talent pool that you have here is certainly some of the best in the country. Organizations, again, like yourself, that give the people the avenues to meet other people through networking and the resources that you provide. You don't see that in many states. You just don't.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of an underdog grit in New Jersey in general in the culture. And I see it in the business community, people like you rallying around, let's make sure we get our fair share. Let's make sure we empower those who are doing great work, that we surround them with the resources. That's what you and BDO do for us. And it's different than in other markets where I think you're a little bit more left out on your own, because there's so much density and volume of the activity here. People tend to know one another and want to see each other succeed. So maybe in that spirit, how does BDO differentiate itself from some of those other organizations when people are looking? We just talked about how do people look at different regions, geographies. Well, how do people consider if they're looking at BDO or 5 other firms? When should they give you an extra look because you really thrive in certain areas?
I'd say you can talk to us at any point in time along the life cycle. We can provide great advice to those companies that are just starting out, to the extent that you need to talk about how to be structured, potential sources of capital to get you to the next level, and all along that point in time where the venture capital community, we're very tied into that, not just private equity, but venture capital. We also do have connections to a lot of the angel investors as well. And then as you move upstream, you just look along the lines of, as simple as a gentleman like Todd Kinney, who's in our organization that has connections with all the private equities, and he sits there with opportunities to provide C-suite talent from these private equities that people maybe have exited the transaction and are looking for the next opportunity. Great sources of talent from that perspective. So you name it, we can provide a lot of different touch points to companies to help them just talk through issues. It doesn't have to be, a situation where we're billing them for services. Pick our brain. We'll tell you what we're thinking and hopefully help you, strive to be better and move along the life cycle.
And I think that's a great place to end, because I think that really sums up the spirit of what I think the Tech United community is about, right? And what I'm so eager to get the message out around that, if you're an early stage company, Kevin wants to see you do well. Hopefully one day, he'll earn your business. But more importantly, I know you'll make 10 intros if you think it could be helpful, just to be helpful. And you want to see people succeed. I think that's really the spirit of what this organization is about, and why we're so honored to have people like you around the table. Because early stage companies, we want to make sure they thrive. Growth stage companies, you got a lot of smart people around the table who can help you grow, who can help you get to the next level. And so Kevin and BDO are one of those folks. And obviously Tech United wants to make sure we surround the community with as many of these resources as possible. So you got some closing remarks there? Go ahead.
We'd like to say we like to show off our network. You obviously is a big part of that. We're so proud to be part of the Tech United community. Also want to make sure people are aware that we have Michael Dombrowski is going to be speaking on digital transformation at Propelify. He's got some good insight from over 500 CEO suite executives, as well as things that are happening in digital transformation that people would want to know about.
Yeah, it's going to be there is so much content happening throughout the event. We've got 2 full stages, the roundtables. We've got 60 exhibitors, a Brex Cash Cube, a Facebook networking lounge. There's a lot happening. So people, head to Propelify.com. You can get a free ticket with BDO Propels is the code. And we'll see Kevin 1 week from today. It's going to be great, right?
And we're looking forward to getting out there and networking with our friends again as well. So thank you, Aaron, for the opportunity.
Good to be in person. Appreciate it. We'll end with the high five on the count of 3. High five your camera. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Good to see you. See you in a week.
Take care, Aaron. Be good.
You too.